I'm short. If you're a sponsor and you can hear me now, we need you at the front of the room. What's up, everybody? How you guys doing? Welcome back to Masterclass321. We started this thing like 2 months ago, but actually we started this thing about almost 9 years ago in Orlando. We were talking about how there just wasn't a place where people would come together and learn objectively from the best of the best in the industry. People either like held their secrets close to their chest, or they taught them all, but only in a brokerage specific, like come join my brokerage or come to my recruiting thing for my brokerage and we'll tell you all about the best people at our brokerage. But there wasn't a lot of collaboration among the best of the best. And we noticed this across markets all across Florida. And so we decided that being neutral and being in the business of media for real estate and ranking the top 500 and 300 agents in markets across the country. If you don't know, Real Producers is in 125 markets all across the U.S. We're a 10-year-old company. We rank the top 300 or 500 agents in 125 markets all across America. And we've been doing it here for coming on 3 years. Can y'all give us a round of applause, our 3-year anniversary? That's pretty cool. But anyway, so it was 2018. We decided to put 5 of the top agents on a stage in Orlando, and it went so well that we've done it 80 times now. We spread it here, and this is our second session. Can y'all give yourselves a round of applause for coming out to that? So make sure to tell your realtor friends and help us fill this thing so we can keep doing them here. But basically, the Real Producers, if you didn't know, we put out a magazine about and for the top 300 agents in the market. We tell their stories. We have nothing to sell them. When you see somebody on the cover, it means they earned it, not they paid us. And all of it's funded by the preferred partners who represent some of the best service providers in the whole industry. So if you meet anyone here that doesn't sell real estate, like they're a mover or a stager or inspector or a lender, they're not here by accident. They're referred by other top 300 agents. So like top, 4%, 5% agents in this market are recommending and vouching for them, and they support this platform just for you guys. So definitely make sure you connect with the sponsors. We've got about 45 partners that support the platform, and we've got a handful that stepped up extra today to make this specific event happen. So can we give it up for them real quick? Each of them is going to take like 60 seconds. They're all going to take 60 seconds to tell you who they are or what they do. It's not enough time to tell you all about their stuff, so make sure you visit them. They got tables at the back. So hopefully most of them will probably email or reach out. Make sure you meet them, tag them. They're people you want to meet because they're very legit. They're the best of the best, and they help the top agents in the market be the top agents in the market. So make sure you meet all of them. And anyway, we got a handful of people, and we actually now have 5 speakers, so thanks for jumping in, Tom. And I'm going to jump right in, let them talk, I guess, because hey Dave, where's the microphones?
I have one. Is this thing on?
All right, where's the rest of them? Oh, sweet. If you could. Oh, there is a gray RAV4 in valet that needs the keys. If you have a gray RAV4 and you are in valet, anyway, you don't have to stand up in front of everyone and raise your hand, but if you got a gray RAV4, you may want to sneak out in a second and oh, we got it. We got it figured out. All right, y'all ready to roll? All right, Jennifer, you want to kick us off?
I will kick us off.
Let's do this thing.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jennifer Klein. I'm with the mortgage firm West Melbourne. I am your trusted local lender. I kind of want to just have a quick conversation. One of my niches is rescue deals, and I can tell you my team has been rescuing deals left and right. I think in a time where listing agents want to sell their homes, buyer's agents want the client and really not control the transaction because they're just happy to have a buyer coming in. They're not having that conversation of why it's helpful to use a local lender. So I think we need to go back to having those conversations. What makes using a local lender the best? It's the communication, it's the local appraisers, it's the knowledge, it's my reputation is going to help their offer get accepted over another offer that might be coming in. So I think we need to go back to having those conversations. But if you do need a rescue deal, my team can close deals in 7 days, so I'm always here and you can give me a call anytime.
Love it. Let's keep it going. And y'all can actually, we can keep doing it this way.
Hello, everybody. I'm Sarah
I'll get
Watson.
out of the way.
I'm with Double Scope Inspections. We are your one-stop shop for home inspections. We do everything from septic, sewer scopes, mold assessments, water testing, all the good things. Any questions you have, or if you've never tried Double Scope, I'm right back there. Come by and see me, and I'll answer any questions you may have.
I'm Sharon Infanti from Fluent Mortgage, and I love puzzles. So I've always been a puzzle girl, square peg, round hole, my favorite. We obviously can do everything that everybody else can do, the vanilla, the squeaky clean stuff, and we have fantastic rates, but the puzzles are what we do the best. I could do as little as a 6.375 on a no-doc investor. Lowest 620 credit score, that's a 6.375 on a 30-year fixed, no docs. You have a creative accountant, write everything off. We couldn't care less. We don't check your tax returns. Go up as high as a $3 million. We can do non-warrantable condos. Everybody knows one of those. We can do mixed use. We can do commercial. We can do everything. So I love loyalty. I love respect of other lenders, of your current relationships. But if there's any holes that I can fill, please give me a shout anytime.
Love it. Just flick those to the right.
Good morning, everybody. I am Danielle Sells with Landmark Title. Our office is right here in downtown Melbourne, so pretty conveniently located, but we do service the entire Space Coast with complimentary mobile closing, so just keep that in mind. I myself have been in Brevard County real estate for coming up on 20 years, and before I was in title, I was a realtor. So I think that gives me a little bit of a leg up as your title agent because I've literally been in your shoes. I know what helps you, I know what hurts you, and I know what you need out of a trusted title partner. I could stand up here and just list off all the cool things about Landmark Title, but I'm not gonna do that. I'd honestly just much rather have a one-on-one convo with you guys. So over coffee, over something stronger. So if we don't know each other, please introduce yourself, grab my number, my contact info is in the back. If we do know each other, let's reconnect and just have a conversation about how I can help you guys succeed and grow your business together. And I know I'm at time, but I do want to give a shout out to Aaron for putting this all together. It's hard work.
Thank you.
These things are always incredible, and I know everyone in here is really appreciative of what you do.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Corey. I'm with Cypress Inspections. So yeah, we do WDO inspections, septic. We do everything. I would love to talk more about some of the services that we are able to provide, how we're able to help your clients, get you closer to the closing table. Come check us out. We'll be here at the end. I'd love to connect with you guys. Thanks.
I'm usually loud enough, but I'll go ahead and use it. I'm Donna Harris with International Title and Title Solutions. We have offices in Cocoa Beach, Merritt Island, and Titusville to serve the entire county. We have over 250 years of experience in title in our office with all of us combined. I'm not that old, thankfully, but that's the amount of experience we have. So pretty much you haven't come across anything that we haven't seen that we're not able to help you with and get worked out if you think you have a big problem. Not that I like to take on problem closings, but we're really good at solving them. And we try to get that done easily and without a lot of input from you because you got other things to do like sell property. So if you want to have coffee, meet up, have a phone conversation, a Zoom meeting, I'm here for it. And or someone on my team if you have someone that you know on our team that you'd like to meet up with. Leanne Schufelt in Merritt Island, Bobby Phillips, Rose in Merritt Island, Rose Goodrich and Jason Cole are in Titusville, and I'm in Cocoa Beach. Thank you very much. Have a great day. And if you're jealous of these cute little house bags and wonder what's in them, come see me.
All right. And she sponsored the coffee, so let's make sure we give her a round of applause. Let's keep this going.
All right, good morning, good morning. How's everyone feeling? I know, I usually get that. I'm in insurance and I usually don't get a very, loud applause there. But no, so my name is Monica. I'm with Assured Partners Insurance Brokerage based out of Florida. We're nationwide. I come today with Janelle, one of the amazing agents on our team that is local and been helping many of you, as we can see many similar faces that we've worked with. But we're here to get you guys to the closing table. I usually use this spiel, but honestly, this year insurance is looking amazing. Rates are dropping. Auto insurance rates are dropping. Homeowners rates are dropping. We had one of our best months last month because we had so many clients calling us because we were able to save them money. So if you guys are looking to get the deal done, we're talking roofs, everything within the home, 4-point inspections will be there to help you. Please connect with Janelle or myself. We'll be in the back and we'll be happy to partner. Thank you.
Love it. All right. Just flick that to the right.
I'm Haley. I'm with Inspiring Home Staging Design, so I'm Michelle's new helper, so everyone here pretty much knows Michelle Carpenter. So if you're not staging your home, please let us stage your home. Our team's phenomenal. Jamie is our project manager. She'll come out and do a consult. She can do a vacant home. She can do an occupied home. Sorry, I couldn't think of that word. But there's anything that we can help you with. A staged home sells faster, it looks better, it's more presentable, and we also offer a pay at closing option. So if there's anything you need from us, let us know.
Love it. All right. All right, one of these here. Colton, you ready to bring us home?
What's up? It's Colton Jones with Top Team Moving. Yeah. Okay, I want to talk really quickly about Giver's Gain. Who's ever heard of Giver's Gain? Wow, you guys need to learn about that. B&I. But basically what that means is what you give, what you put out there, it can come back to you. And that's something that I believe. And there's different ways to give. You know, you can give, if someone asks you for something, you can give that to them, okay? Or you can reach out to them and say, hey, how can I help you? And they can come in and tell you what they need, and you can give that to them. But one of the best ways that I've found to give is giving without even being asked. Doing my own research, being proactive, being thoughtful, and presenting a gift that is valuable and useful whenever the time is right. So Top Team Moving, we have something for you. 20 free boxes, comes in a bundle. I'll be set up back there, but 20 free boxes, that's what we offer to you and your clients who are buying or selling a home. If they're moving, they need boxes, and Top Team Moving has them. We'll deliver them for free, no strings attached. Thank you.
Love it. Let's give him a round of applause. Also, we got to give a round of applause to Studio CLI, or Coastal Luxury Image. They're doing the video today. Next Door Photos is doing the photography today. And we got Dave Stewart and his crew with D Stewart Productions doing all the audio video. So when you watch replays of this thing and it's edited from 4 different cameras on the fly and it looks all professional, that's Dave Stewart, D Stewart Productions. They came all the way from Orlando. And if you need a world-class saxophone player for one of your events, this guy tours with Al Green and all sorts of people. So definitely make sure you get his info after. Let's give it up for all those media partners who are helping us out. All right, you guys ready to learn something today? Make some noise if so. All right, let's just get this thing started. I'll start with Silvia Mozer, your friendly real estate expert. She brings 21 years or more experience to selling real estate. She's fluent in both Spanish and Portuguese, and her multilingual skills are just one aspect of her diverse experience. She consistently ranks in the top 10 agents in all of Brevard County year after year after year. She's a coach with the Mike Ferry organization as well. And that's not in her bio, but I remember that thing. So anyway, she sold a ton last year. Let's give a giant round of applause for the legend Silvia Mozer from RE/MAX. Oh, let me put that out of your way, sorry. And that's RE/MAX Elite, correct? All right, just want to make sure I didn't get that wrong. All right, Gibbs Baum is a top producing agent, the founder of the Baum team. That's the Baum. That should be your mantra, unless I'm pronouncing it wrong. He's at ONE Sotheby's Realty, over 20 years experience in real estate marketing and sales. He's known for strategic invite, ranks in the top 5 agents in the county year after year, or top 10 agents in the county year after year. Let's give it up for Gibbs Baum. Marcie Bolt approaches real estate the same way that lightning strikes. Ooh, I like that. With full intensity or not at all. She's a broker and licensed partner at Engel Volkers, Melbourne. She spent the past 20 years building a business fueled entirely by past clients, referrals, and consistent neighborhood farming. Marcie's proof that when you lead with trust, service, and results, your business becomes self-sustaining, consistently in the top 1% of agents in the county. Let's give it up for Marcie Bolt. Let me just pass that one over so at least you have one of those. All right. Jim Reynolds is the sod guy. No, I'm just kidding. Born in St. Louis, Missouri, he's a crowd favorite. But he was raised in Jacksonville. He went to Rollins College. I didn't know you were a Tar. Go Tars. Graduated with a computer information system degree and English minor. Got licensed in 2014. There was only one brokerage at the time. With only one brokerage his entire career. Britton Group. Yeah, Britton Group. Oh, that's amazing. Over 23 years, he was in the Coast Guard as well. Sells a ton of real estate, always in the top 50, top 1%. Let's give it up for Jim Reynolds. Sorry, I did these out of order. Where did I put yours, Tom? Give me 2 seconds. I'll just give you I'm gonna wing yours, Tom. Is that cool? Tom has a diverse background in international business, and he did high-level consulting in other countries, moved here, got into real estate, sold a ton of real estate. They promoted him to team leader, went back into selling a ton of real estate, and he ranks in the top 50 agents in the county consistently, top 1% agent. Was that decent? All right, let's give it up for Tom Taranto. Sorry, Tom, I know I have it, but I screwed that up. It wasn't as handy as I thought it was. All right, let's jump right in. Let's start with how you got in, what you were doing before real estate, how you got into it, and what your organization, team, or solo act looks like today. The mics just need the bottom button flicked to the right, but I'll start with you, Tom. We'll go all the way down there. So what were you doing before real estate? How'd you get into it, and what's your structure look like today?
So I got into real estate. I had just moved back. I had lived in Sweden for 14 years and came back here in 2004. Wasn't planning on getting into real estate, but it was going to be kind of like a side gig or something like that. I had bought a patent that I was going to market here in the United States, and when I got here, the market was kind of booming in 2004. And basically what happened was I just started doing well in real estate and got so busy with that the patent fell by the wayside. I didn't end up doing anything with that and just stayed in real estate for the last 21 years. But before that, when I lived in Sweden, I was doing training and development for 14 years with government offices and big companies.
Love it. Jim, what were you doing? Oh, actually, Tom, what's it look like today? Team, assistant, is it just you? And what did you sell last year?
So we did about 70, 80 units last year as a team. My team now consists of 5 people. I have an actual team with a full-time admin and agents that are under my team. And we joined a company called Place in September of last year, which is the largest team in the United States.
Love it. Jim?
I was, as Aaron, thanks by the way for putting all this together. And this is a good excuse to see all our friends. It's like old home week. This is awesome because most of us are working still, so yeah. So I retired from the Coast Guard 2010. I'd been stationed down here twice. Really knew I loved Brevard County, loved Satellite Beach. It doesn't look it, but I've been surfing for about 42 years. I've achieved a level of pleasing mediocrity. That's all I'm doing is standing up, but I love this place. I just love Brevard County. And so anyway, came back 2010, worked in a surfboard warehouse, but I had done investing in Virginia for a while. I was in Hampton Roads, and I really liked it. And I thought, why would I pay a realtor? Let me go get my license, which I've learned so much since then, like the value of realtors, right? But anyway, so I got I don't know if Trish Zeeler, she's probably working right now, but I met Trish, and I said, I don't need a full-on Boy Scout, but I need somebody who's got a good moral compass, doesn't do work on anybody else's back, aggressive for their clients, stuff like that, all that crap. And she didn't even hesitate. She said, Jim Britton, that guy who parks the RAV. And so I met with Jim, and he's looking at me cockeyed. He's like, at the time, I think I drove up to his office. I don't think he saw it. Maybe he saw when I walked out. I had a 4-wheel drive Outer Banks van. Like, really, just the optic was not good for anything successful with real estate. He took a chance on me, got my license in 2014, and I've been with Jim ever since. And rely heavily on word of mouth, exclusively pretty much on word of mouth.
Team, no team, just you?
I've got a transaction coordinator, Darlene. For a short stint, I was in the Port Authority, and she came with me out of the Port Authority. And it's just me, her, and then we have about 5 folks that are Satellite Beach locals that actually do all the listing prep that a lot of people see on my social media and stuff. So.
Love it.
Yep.
All right, Marcie, just flick it to the right if you're not on.
So I got into real estate, honestly, by accident. I owned a restaurant, and my boys were little, and I had an opportunity to get out and actually have a life, and then I got into real estate. But so I wasn't sure what I was going to do, and one of my customers of the bar was an investor, and he's like, hey, why don't you do real estate? You can make a little pocket money while you stay at home with your kids. And I was like, oh, okay. So that's literally how it happened. And true fashion, I can't do anything halfway. So 2 years later, I started my own brokerage, and I've been in business now for over 20 years. I am a working broker. I don't have a team of other agents, but I have an amazing brokerage with a ton of advisors. We do have, from a staffing standpoint, I have a transaction coordinator, I have a marketing director, we have an intern coming in. I know I'm probably forgetting somebody. And then just a bunch of just amazing advisors that work with us. So I've been doing it, like I said, over 20 years, and it's just been an amazing career.
My name's Gibbs Baum, and out of college, I sold alarm systems door to door. It was a tough time when I was younger, but I learned a lot and carried that then into Canon Computer Systems. I don't know if y'all remember when the digital cameras first started coming out, aging myself a little here, but digital cameras first started to come out. They came out with the Canon Power Shot, which was like the #1, and I was the rep for them for Florida. And then after that, went to work for FedEx Kinko's for a while because my wife had gotten a transfer, and I just upped and moved to a new place, quit my job, and started all over. And my sister was killing it in real estate in downtown Raleigh. So after buying 1 or 2 houses, and she helped me with that, and I remodeled them and flipped them, then I decided it was just smart for me to get my license as a backup. And right around that time, I went to work for Subaru of America as a regional rep for them, covering Virginia and North Carolina. So towards the end of that, when I was really getting tired of it, and I was at that time already licensed, started to put together my website, that kind of thing, I left Subaru of America and went into real estate full time. And at that time, just partnered up with somebody that had the highest ethical standard that I could find that was interested in going in the business. And that's kind of been my game plan and target is always to be 100% transparent. Of course, I work for my client, their fiduciary. I take that fiduciary responsibility very seriously, but I also believe that we as a realtor community need to be professional, polite, and all those things to one another, because the single transaction with a buyer or seller may or may not have a future to it, but 100% the people in this room, this is the future of the real estate industry. It's about doing business in a place that can be calm, where we can remove emotion from people and make transactions smoother so that when we all get to the closing table, everybody's smiling rather than frowning, right?
Love it.
And at the end of every transaction, it's one of those two things. Rarely do you have one person smiling and the other one frowning. But my point to that is, if there's one takeaway that I could give everybody here, it's just that when we communicate with each other, do it with respect. If you're the listing agent, make sure you're getting them the docs. Make sure if it's new construction, you're getting them the certificate of occupancy. If it's get them the seller's disclosure, put it up on docs. Make it easy for one another to actually be successful. And then as you're negotiating back and forth, yes, you're working for your client, but at the same time, think about how negotiation works. Because if you don't give the buyer's agent something to go back to the buyer with that's at least some kind of olive branch, things can stop. And that's where I think collectively we need to constantly remind ourselves to do that.
Love it. You were on a roll, so I didn't want to stop you. But your team structure,
Well
I know
said.
you have a team, you have a partner.
So my team structure and the whole thought process of team for me was not to build some super team. It was really more give back to the few people that reached out to me that were looking for advancement, that were looking for mentorship. So it's never been about what can the team generate for Gibbs Baum.
Got it.
It's about me doing my part to give back, just like different people in the alarm industry that taught me different things.
Sure.
All those people that taught me, it's my turn to give back a little bit. I'm still preserving some of my time, but at the same time, the few people that have reached out, that's the team that's building.
How many are on the team? And do you have an admin or assistant?
So there's 7 or 8 on the team. I'd have to look to
Got
tell you the truth.
What about marketing or admin side?
But marketing, Sotheby's does a great job of having a marketing coordinator.
Office-wide.
And that you can communicate with. Also, they've put a lot of AI into some of their marketing. So there's a
Understood.
lot of things available like right out of the gate with that.
Got it. So 5 or 6, no admin.
And then for transaction coordinators, some people love them. And if you're not great with following dates and paperwork and all that, you should definitely have a transaction coordinator.
Understood.
I prefer to watch everything, to write all my own addendums, because after 20 years in the business, there are certain things that I want to make sure is in every. And I feel like if I'm only looking at it from the transaction coordinator doing it, it may not click in my brain, oh, this sentence needs to be added
Understood
to that.
completely.
You know, so me, I
you do it
am
all yourself.
very hands-on, and I like to go to the inspections. I like to hear what they say. I like to then review the inspection. I like to be able to say to the buyer or seller when something comes up, I was there, this is what he
Got it.
said. I may even take a quick video of what he said if I think it's gonna land in that report differently.
Understood.
But
I'm gonna
I'm
keep
just-
rolling with Silvia.
Yeah, I'm just
because I
very
know
hands-on.
I get you talking about it all day, and I got a bunch of questions I want to ask you. So Silvia, how about your team personal structure? Is it you? Is there assistant?
It's me and one assistant and one transaction coordinator. She
Okay.
doesn't work only for me, the transaction coordinator.
What does your assistant handle, and what does your I mean, obviously your TC
So
does
she
transactions.
helps me with listings, putting listings, the admin work of the listing, putting it on the market. I write all the remarks. I want to control that part because I think that's very important whenever
Sure.
you put a house on the market.
What mistakes do you think most of these agents are making on their remarks? Or what are some of the things that you think you do that make yours more
Okay.
specific and accurate?
One of the things that I think they shouldn't put on the remarks is price reduction. It's pretty much telling that the listing was rejected. So I think that, when, you have to give price reduction so that a listing will sell eventually, but to say that on the listing, seller's motivated, it just sounds so desperate. I think that you have to see what else you can do with the listing. I just don't think that is a good strategy.
Like it. Do you have any others that you see that you think are common mistakes?
I saw one recently, and it really made me cringe. That the buyers walked, their loss, your gain. I'm thinking, I said, my goodness, I don't really think that is a good idea to advertise a property like that. You want that listing to be special. You want to present it as it is something that they cannot miss. You have to come to this listing, come see it. But if you present it in a way that they feel, you know what, nobody wanted it. Why should I want it?
Makes
So,
sense.
and if a listing is not selling, why don't you look at your remarks and see, okay, what exactly do I have to change? Maybe there's something I need to change here. So just look at it, review it. How about the pictures? I see a lot of people putting the pictures, okay, the front of the house, 25 pictures of the front of the house, and then 25 of the kitchen, 25 of the living room. I'm like, look, like the buyers are not even gonna look at past the third picture. They're like, you know what, maybe I don't like this house. What if they didn't like the front of the house, but maybe they would love the interior of the house? Don't you think you should just put maybe put the 5 top pictures first, because on Zillow, they're gonna see the 5 first. So look at that and see what are the 5 top pictures. And then you go with the next pictures, right? So that's how I think. And some of the pictures are not that great, delete it. Don't put the pictures of the closet unless they have organizers.
Love it.
Who wants to see a lot of clothes?
Love it. Since you teed it up, I got to at least ask you, let's say that you have a listing that's not been selling and you're going back and you're looking at the remarks. Can you walk us through the process of what you would be going back to do an audit and change, or tell us a story of one that you changed that worked? Either or.
So you have to understand so let's say there was a listing that was on the market for 5 months with somebody else, and the listing was not selling. So I asked the seller, said, I know that you need to close soon, but she had this VA assumption loan. I said, why don't we try to work with that? And she said, no, it's going to take too long. I said, why don't you call the bank and see how long it's going to take? And sure enough, the bank said that they could do in 30 days, which I thought was a miracle. I said, it was Veterans United. I thought, Veterans United, 30 days assumption. So you don't have to give so much of the seller's equity if you say, okay, with $100,000 down payment, you are able to assume this loan. So why don't you go back to your listings and see if they have a 2.25% interest rate, because the buyers may pay full price or even more to buy that listing. So just see the potential of every listing, because it is our job to do the best for our clients, and you have to understand the potential of each listing. So that's...
Yeah, especially here where there's so much VA.
Exactly.
And
Gibbs,
in
you wanna add to
MLS
that?
entry, you do have assumable as a button click there.
Tell me about what you would change, what you see mistakes in the remarks or mistakes people are making in listings in general.
All right, so take your notepad out, because this is something I do now. I am not the written word. I do not like the written word. My degree is in journalism, but I still don't read. So to me, it's 100% the first 5 pictures. Then I will dig into additional pictures. I hate anything over 50 or 60 pictures, because what's left? You just, I was about to use something that wasn't appropriate. Sorry. You just gave it all away, right? Right? If you put 120 pictures, by the time they're through the 120 pictures, they don't want to see it because they already saw it. And even though a picture is worth 1,000 words, it still doesn't give the same feeling as, it doesn't give you the emotion. And that's the biggest problem. The only emotional shots that you'll get from somebody is a picture of the pool with the landscape perfectly lush, or a picture of the ocean, or a picture of the river at sunset. That's the only emotional pulling picture you'll probably get, unless the kitchen is amazing and the person's a chef. So less is more on the photos in my mind. And then the note card portion of this is go to ChatGPT and give it a prompt that says, write your own narrative initially, put it up there and says, rewrite this prompt to where the first 1,000 characters are in total a narrative, but then give me up to 9,000 additional characters that further explain the beauties of, and I'm Melbourne Beach, so that's pretty much, of Melbourne Beach, the Indian River Lagoon, why people move here, whatever you want to put in that. And chat will now write you 1,000 characters, which is what syndicates to Realtor, Zillow, whatever. And that's what everybody's going to see. But for us, where we have a different tool belt and we're sending additional information to clients, that additional up to, I think it's 10,000 characters, then is a deeper dive. Take that deeper dive and text that to your client. Then look under documents. Is the seller's disclosure in there? Open it up. Because if you look on my listings, unless I was busy as hell and just somehow missed it, the seller's disclosure's up there. If I've got a survey, the survey is up there. If I've got anything, the plat, I pull the plat. You know, when you first start, I don't know who uses app files or whatever you use. Whenever you start your app file, the first thing I do is tax card over taxes, make sure they paid, drop it in the file. The sketch on the property, drop it in the file. Double check the square footage, double check to any prior listing to see if they've made some kind of change that's not in the tax card. Start to double check all those little things that could affect the price point. And also, that's your due diligence in a file, set to the side. And then for us, app files, which whatever, you know, all this electronic document storage, it's there forever. So then when the client calls you 3 years later and says, hey, or 1 year later and they're doing their taxes, hey, do you have your closing statement? Yes, I've also got your survey, this, and this. Do you want me to send that over? Are you putting together a quick real estate file? Yes, I am. Great. So the more I kind of do on the back end to prepare, because I don't want to be showing a property and somebody call me and say, hey, do you have the seller's disclosure on that? And then I'm making a note or I'm doing whatever or I'm trying to pull it up on my phone.
It also helps you brand, like position yourself as their agent for life, because you're like, yeah, I got your files right here. Of course I do.
Exactly.
Like you would call your doctor and expect them to have your medical files. You call your agent, and it's cool that they have all this stuff at their fingertips and they're prepared for it. I love it. Marcie, how about you? Mistakes you see in the
So I
listings.
think the mistakes that make me crazy is just not enough information. 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Well, I can look at that based on room sizes, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. For me, it's about telling a story. Like Gibbs, we really focus on the first 1,000 characters, but people do buy emotionally, and you have to literally put them in that house. If it's got a great kitchen, talk about, the chef is going to love, entertaining or cooking or whatever it is. You really got to connect with them. So I think the biggest mistake is just not enough information. Tell the story. Put as much as you can attached to the documents tab. I think that makes your whole process so much easier and helps you connect better with your buyer when you're selling the property.
Love it. Jim?
Just to kind of compliment off of what they're saying, because I'm totally in line with all of that. So the extra part I would add is don't go cheap on the photos. I don't care if you're selling a single wide trailer. Don't have a picture of you in the bathroom mirror. Well, especially I got caught picking my nose. No, that's never. I never did that. But don't go cheap. I mean, if you think about it, like if you've got long view, everything you put into that listing is you want to make enthusiastic referrals out of the seller, even if you make $2 off it, or God help you, a couple of times and these folks have definitely too. I've lost money. I've been on the reverse side a couple of times to get the deal done, because at the end it doesn't matter. They count on you to sell their house, do the best job you can. So don't go cheap on the photos, hire a professional. Do however you want to. I don't lump that on to the sellers. I just take that as part of doing business. And again, it hasn't served me ill. The other thing is with floor plans, especially, sometimes, especially if you ever sold what is it called? Is it the Capri 5? There's something that's in Wickham Lakes, Indigo Crossing. There's a model 4-bedroom, either 1911 or 1902. The Capri 5. Everybody knows it if you've ever sold anything. I don't need the floor plan. I can actually tell you they knocked down that wall. Like, I think I've had 7 of them. But I still would do a floor plan for them. But here's the secret sauce, I think. I work a lot with Pink Flamingo, next door, some really good photographers. Take out the measurements. If they want the measurements, great. If they need them, we'll get them. But the only thing is if you have a discrepancy between the living square footage and what's on the floor plan, because whatever app they use, you've got a problem. So put the floor plan in, but be smart about it. That's my opinion. Do whatever you want. But again, you don't want to have a lot of weaknesses in your listing. I mean, that's your first. Don't put up crappy pictures with the intent of getting better pictures soon. No. And then I think everybody knows, most people know, I had to learn actually by volunteering with the SCAR, but I think somebody here's got to, within the first 2 photos, you have to have a front door photo that incorporates. So you got to have that one, but the other one should be the hook. If I've got a beautiful turquoise pool with a backyard, I'll go back to the flow because I want them to feel the flow as they walk through it. But man, I'm putting the hook is going to be one of the 2 in the top.
Love it.
So.
Hey, Jim, I wanted to add something to what Jim said.
Because mine was so good.
Jim did say the long view here on real estate and purchasing your photos. And I don't want to just say photos, because look at the opportunity. You've got the opportunity for a floor plan. You've got the opportunity for the measurements, whether you put them up there or not. When somebody calls you, oh yeah, that room's 22 by 26. And then the other thing is video. And then go ahead and buy the cinematic video and get the reel, right? If you're super young and tech savvy and you can make the reel and you can do the editing, great. God love you. But for me, it's don't think about I'm spending $2,000 on this photo package. Think about the fact that you got a listing. This is your opportunity to own content, right? This content can play on for years. It doesn't have to be one thing, And then at some point when you've sold 150, 250, 350, 500 houses, you've got all these older videos. And sometimes you can even take and remix some older videos. Sometimes you say, hey, I'm about to list this property in whatever, South Shores, and In the past year, I've sold 12 of these. Here's a video. Here's a compilation of those 2 videos. Depends on how creative you want to be.
Love it.
But don't forego the content because you did get the listing. Celebrate that and think forward on how that can help you get the next listing.
Love it. Tom, what do you see people doing wrong on their listings?
So
or remarks?
I agree with everything that everybody said. I mean, I think that this is the part of our job description where we're marketers. So we all know that we're unlicensed attorneys and we're committing felony. No, but we are, we have so many different, we are professional elite negotiators. We write the paperwork and all of that. And this is the piece of our job where we work as a marketer. And we have to think of it, that narrative, the photos, the videos, all of that is us being a marketer for that time in our day. And we just have to take on that role or hire it out, have somebody who's better at it than us do that, and we go on the listing presentation or we do the negotiating. So just a little detail about something that many years, I think it's 2017, I actually got my own Matterport camera. So I do a Matterport on every single listing. So I have a 3D virtual tour on every single house regardless of the price point. And it creates floor plans and everything. And I just found that's also a pretty cool, I have just under 300 houses, kind of like this little virtual city that I can go back to listings from all the way back then and actually look at the house, what it looked like at the time on the inside. And if you know with the Matterports, you see every inch of the house. So, but I think just being a marketer for a moment, and that's why the narrative definitely, I just think sometimes you just want to, if the seller is somebody who is not going to get upset about it, be creative. You can be funny. Some of us use humor, and some of us are funny. No, but just do something, because again, look at ads on television. It's got to get attention. It's not just saying this is a house, right? You need to actually get people's attention, and then they look at the pictures if they're reading the narrative at all.
Love it. How many of you guys have seen
can I
Jim's
add to
signs
that?
before? Since speaking of humor, and then I'll go to you, Marcie. So raise your hands real high if you've seen Jim's signs. Okay,
like-
real quick. Raise your hands if you have no clue what I'm talking about when I say Jim's signs. A couple of you guys. Okay. Do you mind just telling them, and then I'm going to go to Marcie? The types of things your signs say?
Well, they just say that somebody told me, I had a really good friend of mine, and when I told him I was going to do real estate, because my background, even post-Coast Guard, was emergency management, real serious stuff, right? Public safety, not fun, not the cost of doing business. And so I'm going to be a realtor. And he goes, dude, look in the mirror, man. You're not pretty enough. You're not glamorous. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to embrace that. And then one time I went in, I said to Jim Britton, I said, how do I look in these? I said, how do I look in these pants? And he said, you look fat. So I just thought I'd add that in, Jim, because he hates that I'm drawing attention to him back there. But so I have a couple. I've got my favorite probably is a Globo Gym poster back where Ben Stiller's wrestling a bull for Dodgeball, the movie Dodgeball. And I had my head superimposed on that, and it says, the concept of macho can't be purchased, but this house can. And then the other one that's bitten me in the rear end so many times is I have my mom, if you're in Satellite Beach and you've either been to the Key West Bar, the Moose Lodge, Mavericks, Cadillac Cove, the VFW, everybody knows Mother Teresa. And she's actually aged well, and I've aged poorly. So, and where's Carly? I know she's seen a lot. Yeah, she lives right down the... So it's a picture of her lovingly looking up at me, and it says, the font isn't big enough because it says, hire Jim, the realtor with a face only a mother could love. And I've had more people walk into my open houses going, oh, I love it that you're a couple and you guys are working together. My mom. So anyway, the next one's going to be good. It's going to be a picture of me as a big fat baby saying, Jim, I haven't run this by you yet. It's just going to say, photo accurate within realtor standards.
I have my clients talking about his signs, just so you know. This is crazy.
I mean,
some of them are weird, by the way.
Yeah, they all say ridiculous stuff on them that make you laugh and look twice. I love it. Marcie, you wanted to add something.
Yeah, when you are marketing a property, you have to change your mindset. Yes, you're doing the best job for your seller, but you really market a property to get that next listing. And I think people forget about that. So everything that you do, you are going to be presenting that to get that next listing, whether it's in that area or somebody sees it or they're looking it up and finding you on Zillow.
Talk about that a little bit more, if you don't mind. The
In
mindset.
what- in what
Just the
respect?
mindset in general of like
yeah, I
going
think-
to get a listing but you're really getting more marketing material to get more listings.
Yeah, so what, especially because we're, part of what we're going to be talking about, I assume later, is farming. And realistically, when you get that listing, you're going to be using those marketing pieces. You're going to be using all of the things that you do and that you do well to present it to that next seller, because you should be following up with that entire community and really reaching out to them when you get a listing. So doing the best job. And again, everything everybody has said is spot on. You have to do all of the things. The 3D tours, the this, the that. It doesn't matter the price point. Every house is a mansion. But I think just keep that mindset in mind. Like that next seller is going to be calling you based on that current listing. So if you do a shitty job, sorry, you're just not going to get that next call.
I love it.
Right down to going to your inspection. So like you get the listing, you do a just listed postcard to quarter-mile radius or half-mile radius, whatever your budget fits for that. And then on the day of inspection, on the day of showings, you show up, and guess what? If a neighbor's in the yard, say, hey, just wanted you to know, I'm a realtor here, I'm the listing agent, and there's going to be 2 cars here. I'm going to see where they're going to park. Let me know if that's okay. Is there somewhere they shouldn't park? All you're doing is starting conversation with a neighbor, right? And then be respectful while you're there, be humble while you're there, and you are a servant to the seller while you're there, right? Or if you're the buyer's agent and you can see somebody parked in the wrong spot or is about to park in the wrong spot, and there's a neighbor that's like looking, take your time to go up to the neighbor and say, hey, I'm so-and-so, just want you to know this is why we're in the neighborhood. Whoever is selling this house, and just whatever, opportunity to give them a card and let them know that you're in these people's backyard. You're on their front yard, you're in their, we often forget as realtors, other people's property rights. And because we're in and out of houses so often, but don't forget, that's a great way to show somebody that you are respectful, that this is a good industry, we are all professionals, and then you go to your inspection, and on the day of your inspection, get there 30 minutes early. Go to the 5 surrounding houses and say, hey, there's gonna be cars here today, is there something did you just plant petunias that I wanna make sure we don't park on, whatever. Let them know you're in the neighborhood for that. They see that you're actively in the neighborhood through multiple parts, and if you get 2 or 3 contacts or touch points with a nebby neighbor, that nebby neighbor, when somebody else on the street starts to sell, they're going to say, hey, call Gibbs Baum because he was here 4 times and he made sure nobody parked on my lawn.
And when you send the postcard, when you send the other marketing, they put a name with the face. Marcie, I'm going to go back to you actually because you brought up farming, so let's just go right into it. Let's talk about what you do to farm communities and any of the other things you're doing when you get a listing to hit the neighbors around it or to maximize the next listing.
So I started my career by farming. I was, as I said, I had gotten into this by accident, and I'm like, okay, now where do we go from now? And I was fortunate enough to attend some really amazing marketing conferences early in my career, and I actually followed the systems. I think all of us have the experience where we try to help people and they don't want to follow the system. So, follow the system with marketing. So I started only by direct mail. And again, this was 20 years ago. So, you didn't have all of the technology that you have today, but you have to do an impact mail schedule where it's a process. You have to touch them every single week for the first 8 weeks when you are becoming that neighborhood expert. And even when, they're taking your postcard that you've mailed and they're walking to the trash and throwing it away, they're still seeing your face. So you have to continue, and then after those 8 weeks, and you have to do it every other week for 4 months, and then you have to do it once a month, and then you have to do it once a quarter, and then you have to touch these people for the rest of your life. And I tell my advisors all the time, if you're going to start farming, you cannot ever stop, because if you're going to stop, then go out and just burn the money, because that's essentially what you're doing. All too often, everybody is like, they're expecting those immediate results. And those results, every once in a blue moon, you get lucky, but those results aren't immediate. It takes, 4 to 6 months for you to become the neighborhood expert. But the more that you do, then you get that first listing, and then that grows organically after that. So it's just about touching that. So we do, when we have a client that sells in our neighborhood or who buys, we actually offer to host their, not their open house, their housewarming party. So we go and we buy the beverage of their choice, and we're there and we get to mingle with them. And it's so cool because the seller's like, oh my God, the buyers, this is my agent, we love them. So again, you're just making contact. So you really need to offer to host their housewarming party. Do the open houses. I don't do open houses anymore, but my team, my advisors will host open houses for me. And then it's just the consistent follow-up. We do pop buys. You can do GG drops. There's so many things that you can do, but you have to never stop.
I got 2 questions for you.
Wait. Before you do that, but don't overextend yourself. The smaller my focus has been, the larger my return has been. So wherever you're working, if it's West Melbourne, Palm Bay, Vieira, Melbourne Beach, Satellite Beach, pick just a small area that you can afford to hit every week for whatever, and so on and so forth. It is the long game there for mailings. It is a 2-year. You should have in your brain, I shouldn't expect any return on this for 2 years. Okay, so what's my budget? Is my budget $100 a month? Is my budget $200 a month? Figure out how to make it work, and then go in and do that. And if you're on a very limited budget, create your mailing list, concrete block build first, all right? Because that's the lower insurance rates. You can also scale it down by year of build. All this is right here in the tax card system and IMAP that allows you to pull these. So these little things that will help you get a house sold, because a wood frame construction on the beach, all day long, you could be 12, 14 grand a year on insurance, right? Concrete block on the beach, you could be 4,200. And that's a big difference when it goes to selling that. That's $1,000 more a month that your buyer has to qualify. So if you're really marketing on a budget, pick the houses that you want to list in that area, but don't make your circumference, don't make your radius larger than what you can budget and actually keep doing.
Marcie, what are you, and thank you, Gibbs, what do you use to pick your farm? Like, how did you pick your farm area? What were the things you looked at? And how long have you been marketing to the ones you've marketed the longest?
So the first thing that you should be doing is farming your neighborhood. People already know you, so they have to know that you're a realtor. Don't be that invisible agent. So I've picked my neighborhood, but there's a formula. So you have to, when you're picking the neighborhood, or you're picking an area that you really want to focus on, whether it's price point or whether it's just a location, et cetera, you have to make sure that it has enough turnover and that there isn't one agent that owns that neighborhood. I probably would never spend my money, marketing dollars, going after a neighborhood that Gibb already has sold 12 houses in, because then that's fruitful, because you won't be successful. But you have to, he's right, keep it small. You focus on one neighborhood, and you have to be able to afford that. So I did my neighborhood first. I've been selling my neighborhood, I don't know, probably 15 years now. And the thing that is ironic, and it's interesting because people aren't keeping in touch with their past clients. I'll have a listing and I won't be representing that buyer. The buyer will have, they'll move in, and years later when that buyer sells, they don't call their agent, they call me. And that's powerful. I can't tell you how much business the agents lose because they're not keeping in touch after their buyer buys. And I probably 30% of my listings are coming from another agent's buyer after they've purchased my listing. So
just for time's sake, I'm going to ask you a quick question about that. Can you just break down for them, what are the things you're doing to market to that neighborhood so that somebody that's on the other side of a transaction, is seeing you indefinitely? What are they actually seeing from you?
So they see all of my just listed postcards. Again, for me now it's a little harder because I don't do as much now as I used to do because I'm already the neighborhood expert. So all I have to do is touch them once a quarter now. But I do community reports.
What it looked like when you were becoming the neighborhood expert?
So when I was becoming the agent, it was consistent touching. And it was constant postcards. This was back then. But now you have the opportunity of purchasing email lists, and obviously once they opt in, there's a lot of different ways you can touch them. So what I recommend now is you have two ways to market a community. It's time or it's money. And the blessing now is you can do a blend of two, of both. Like back when I started this, all I could do was spend money. So it was constant touching. It was having neighborhood parties, inviting them over for wine, because you're farming your neighborhood first. So invite them over for wine. And, then I started marketing. Once I built that community, and again, every piece of material that you send has to be quality. I would send personal letters initially. My favorite story is a community that I farmed, and I was very consistent. I have a brochure that I would send out, and I got a phone call from a couple, from some brothers on a weekend, and they said, hey, we're in town, my sister died, and we're here selling her house, can you meet with us Saturday? And I said, of course. And they said, yeah, just bring the listing agreement, because my sister kept all your paperwork and all your marketing, and she told me I had to hire you when I passed. She had cancer, unfortunately. So that's the power of sending product brochures and letters and postcards, and just consistently doing it.
People keep it. I'm going to come over to this side to Silvia, but how many of you guys have learned something so far? Make some noise. How many of you guys want to learn more about throwing housewarming parties and stuff like that? Raise your hands. So I've got this book. It's one of the best referral books I've ever read for real estate. Some of you guys can vouch for it. It's called The 7 Levels of Communication by Michael J. Mayer. And I'm going to give a copy of this out to somebody that just posts a picture on social media, uses the hashtag Masterclass321. I'll give one of these out today, and I'll give one of these out after to someone that posts online. So all you got to do is post a photo from today at some point, hashtag Masterclass321. It's pretty easy to spell. We'll find you. If you spell it wrong, we won't find you. But Masterclass321, I'll give this copy to somebody. And I'll give one of these out at the end as well. Silvia, let's talk about what you do to farm, how you pick your community, and what you've done to farm.
So I don't spend that much money with postcards. What I try to do is I work on, well, first of all, when you make a sale, try to do a very good job at pricing it so that you're going to negotiate very close to that price. So it starts with telling the seller the truth. Because if you don't tell them the truth up front, what's going to happen is you're going to put it on the market, nobody shows, and then suddenly you're kind of embarrassed because you don't want to talk to the seller and confront them. You need a price reduction, and they think that you lied about it. So first of all, rather than just spending the money, because I know that sometimes people that are here or maybe other people that are going to be watching this, not everybody will have the money to farm or send a lot of postcards, but you may have listings. So how about whenever you are taking listings, make sure you know what you have to say so that they list at the price that you know it's going to sell. And make sure you take at a commission that you're going to keep the other agents motivated to sell your listing. Because if you just, for you to be able to get people to know you, you have to have results. You have to sell something. And for you to sell something, even if you sell it as a buyer, you can say, Mr. Seller, I just helped that person sell that house. And I wanted to see, I may have another person that may be interested in this neighborhood. When do you plan on moving? Wow. So I think that if you have conversations with people, you're going to have a very good chance to talk to get a listing. Or I think that profitability is very important. It's not like, why don't you just spend your time learning? Learn what to say. If you have some objections that you have coming, like every time they said that they have a friend, okay, so what should I say when they say they have a friend, right? Or, oh no, I just want to start here because we can always negotiate it down. Okay, what should we say when they say that? Why don't you learn the objections so that when you take listings that they're going to say, well, you know what? Silvia listed my house. She got the price that I wanted, and they feel like you told them the truth. And that is so important. It's very, very important for you to have
that's
that.
our version of due diligence, right?
Yes.
What is it selling per square? What is it selling per square if there's a pool? What is it selling per square if it's concrete block? What is it selling per square in that neighborhood if it's wood frame construction. How old is the roof? How old is the air
so
conditioner?
if
How
I-
old is the water heater? All those things come into pricing, and you need to actually have that open, transparent conversation. And if your guy says, yeah, I don't care, I still want to list it at 1.9, great. Get it in writing that you did share all that information with them, because 3 months later when they're pissed and they don't understand why there's no showings and there's no feedback and there's nothing, you can kind of go back to them and say, hey, you know, we had discussed that this is towards the top part of the range that we discussed.
Sure.
The market's even moved since then.
Sure. So if I'm hearing you guys right, having honesty up front and having tough conversations up front affects your credibility later. Is that what I'm hearing both of you essentially say?
Yeah, I think that you have to be ready to walk from the listing or the buyer, whoever that is, that they are not wanting to sign the agreement with you if they are not, well, first of all, you don't want to do business if they are not good people. If they're abusive people, who wants to do business with them? You have to just always have this, you have to really learn your crowd and making sure that you work with people that are going to be good to you. And I think that it really will help your business. Have somebody abusive, fire them fast.
Love it.
And can I add to that, Erin? Every house has a range of value. So pricing is so important, because if I have a seller who needs to be in Dallas, Texas tomorrow because her husband got transferred, then your pricing recommendation is probably going to be not at the very, very top end of that range, because we're in a different, and know your market. We're in a different market now. You know, back in the day, you could list at over the top end of the range and still get an offer, you know, within 30 days. And it's just different. So you have to know the motivations behind the pricing, and you have to price it within that range based on the seller's desires. Every seller is going to be unique in that respect.
Understood. I'm going to go to Jim now, though. I want to ask you back to what we were trying to talk about before, which is the farming. How do you pick your area, and what are some of the things you're doing to farm your area?
It's on the
Or
worst
how about
of
your sphere or your network?
The sphere is the most important thing. So I am a shameless self-promoter. And I'm, by the way, have I married any couples in this audience at all? Oh, wait, there's the McKays. I do that so like my sphere of influence, anything that I touch, first, if you're a shameless extrovert, you're already on the right road, right? So you want to use, like, it's very ignorant, and I think it comes across horrible if you try to jam real estate into everything. Let it come out. But if you like to talk to folks, talk to folks. You know, and if they ask you about real estate, share what you know. I mean, I don't let many opportunities go by without people knowing I'm a real estate agent, to the point of also I wear T-shirts. I have my own T-shirts that say real estate agent and love machine. And I can't tell you, I've got 2 listings off that at Home Depot. But, or with marriages, I officiate weddings. I got the pleasure to do the McKays again. They're so awesome, Dave and Shelby. But I think most folks come away knowing that I'm a real estate agent, but also they come away thinking, hopefully, I've tricked them into thinking, Jedi mind trick, that I'm a pretty good dude, that I'm going to be a straight shooter, you know, be square with them, tell them the truth when it's ugly, but be a fierce advocate for getting them the best price, depending on what their competing demands are. Do they have to move to Dallas, or they're like, no, I can sit on it for a while. I was like, all right, well, let's look for the unicorn, you know. So my sphere is basically, it's kind of weird, but it's a retired military, people I've married, unless they get their real estate license. That's the worst. PTO at Surfside Elementary, Satellite Beach High School, surfing, Mercy Management.
Let me stay with you with the question about that. Let's talk about, what are you doing to turn people that bought from you or sold with you into lifelong customers or clients? Like, what are you doing to either market to them, to keep in touch with them, to remind them, to nudge them for their next purchase?
That's a great question. I'm doing not as great a job as I should be, because despite so what I would recommend doing is exactly like, you know, maintaining that, you know, in the military you call it a battle rhythm, right? Like how often you do something to sustain, like for your energy, right? You don't want to, deplete yourself. So those periodic engagements, checking in, copy down birthdays and stuff. Don't be fake about it. But, you know, if you really like people and you want to shoot them, think, hey, hope Addie's having a great birthday or something like that. Don't send it at 7 in the morning like that was like you just got the tickler and I'm knocking you off of my legal check pad of things to do. Be authentic.
Can I add something to that though?
Yep.
If you're the type of person who's up at 7 a.m. or earlier and you're ready to do it, especially now iPhone has it too, but one of the reasons I've been on Android forever is because I can pre-schedule texts, and I pre-schedule like 100, every morning. So you get a text from me at 1 o'clock, I probably set that at 6 a.m., 7 a.m. the night before. I'll sit down and I'll just bang out the next 20, 30. If I'm focused and it's night or I'm focused and it's early, I'll pre-schedule 30, 40 messages, and they may hit 10 of them at 9, 10 of them at 10, 10 of them at 11, 10 of them at 12, and my phone's just blown up by the time I get out of something like this. That's an easy way to stay effective and stay on top of those. Just a thought.
And the balance to that is that if you even give one shred of inauthenticity, it's done. If you went from being very personal and engaging, that's why I like the time setting, stuff like that. So that's I don't do the periodic engagement as much as I should. I try to I think on the front end, and again this is just something, but I've had the best year I've had in the world. Yesterday was transaction number 35 since January, right? But I'm 7 days a week. I don't have good life, work balance stuff, none of that stuff. But the authenticity, but you should do the periodic engagement. Man, I've lost more. The thing that breaks my heart is I know the properties. Yes, man. And you go in a neighborhood and you're like, I sold that house and that is not my sign in the front yard. 4 years later, and they're quiet and maybe, whatever. It's been so easy to just say, hey, how are things going?
Let me jump to you, Tom. Let's talk about farming. If you're farming a community, how you pick it, what you do with it, or talk about how you keep in touch with your sphere, either or.
Yeah,
we're getting towards the end.
So in the very, very beginning, 21 years ago, I did farming. That has not been what I've done. The thing that really was a game changer for me was networking. I joined a Chamber of Commerce network many years ago. I was in BNI when I lived in Sweden. So I had that BNI, Business Network International. I was in one of the chamber leads groups for 17 years. I was the president of one of the groups. And then I joined another group in addition. So I was going to 2 networking groups each month. And that in itself was probably the biggest determining factor in my career out of everything. I ended up getting connections with an attorney. I ended up doing over 100 short sales during the Great Recession. That was literally life and death for me. Literally, I probably wouldn't be sitting here as a realtor if I hadn't had that as a lead source. And then just the people that I've met from networking have been the most important lead sources in my entire career. And I say it to all the people that I stand in front of at our office. And the funny thing is that I can go back later and say, okay, I told everybody this is the most important thing I've ever done is joining a referral network, a business network, meeting with them consistently. How many of you signed up for one? And basically nobody ever does it, which is kind of the funny thing from, you do trainings like this and how many actually take something and implement it and run with it. So for me, it hasn't been farming geographically. It's been the referrals that have come from the business networks.
How do you pick? How do you pick the network? What should people be looking for when picking that network? And then how do you maximize the people you meet in that network?
Yeah, so basically, if you can't find one ready to go, typically there's only one person from each industry in a business network. You don't really want to be with a couple other realtors, right? So if there's one in each industry, if you cannot find one ready to go, which you probably will have a hard time finding, you simply have to make your own. Make yourself the president and then start adding on. Here's my title company, here's my lender, here's my inspector, here's my photographer, here's my surveyor, here's my appraiser, here's my chiropractor, here's my IT guy. Just build the group, meet as often as you want, find a venue, and just say this is about business. You basically everybody presents themselves, 60 seconds, you have an educational and then a spotlight speaker each meeting. It's a very simple agenda, you can find it. And basically, business networks, it's tried and tested. And so for me, what has happened is that it's the business that's coming. So my business is all over Brevard County because it's all referrals. Some of them are referrals that you pay a referral fee for. Some of them are referrals from just people. So you don't see that pattern of me farming a neighborhood.
If I'm hearing you right, what you just kind of glazed over is you are also farming agents outside of this area to get referrals to the area. Is that what I've heard?
So yes,
Without hearing it.
So a lot of business for me has come from, from the brokerage I'm a part of and
So
the
that's
team I'm a
like
part
for
of.
you, it's Keller Williams or Place referrals, but really, like I've had Ken Posick on a whole bunch of panels like this, and he's talked about building an agent database just as hard. He moved from Detroit to Orlando, and he traveled all around the state and taught he was a Keller Williams agent, but you could do this at any brokerage. He taught at all the other Keller Williams across the state and built himself a pipeline, and after building a big database, he's got a few thousand agents in his database, so he has drip campaigns and marketing and postcards and all that go to his, realtor referral database, and then his Sphere is a different database that he's also marketing to. So what I'm hearing from you is you built a network, but you also do stuff globally or statewide or.
Yeah, the big conferences, going to a big conference, meeting a lot of agents from all over the country face to face. Now you're a real person. I have never gone to one of the big conferences without it being paid for, essentially in the end, because I get a referral from somebody that I met.
I love that.
Guaranteed.
So since you teed it up, I was going to talk about this, but if you guys pull out your phones real quickly and type in the letters RP for real producers, elevate.com, like you're elevating your game, RP Elevate, because we've got a national conference in September in Dallas, the 28th and 29th, and we're inviting the top 500 agents from 125 markets across the country, so they're probably the most likely people to get and give referrals. Tom Ferry's keynoting, Rory Vaden, Molly Bloom from Molly's Game, if you've ever seen that on Netflix, and a whole bunch of awesome badass speakers are going to be there, so hopefully you guys will come join us, but go to rpelevate.com and you can grab a ticket, and I'm pretty sure SCRP saves you $100 as a code, so I'm just throwing that out there. I was going to plug that today, but since you talk about conferences, I might as well plug it, and I might be kicking off the conference, so y'all keep your eyes out for that one too. But anyway, I want to ask each of you, since we're running a little, let's talk about what you do to keep in touch with your past clients, your sphere. What are you doing? How often are you touching them? What are you touching? I know Marcie started talking about an 8x8 33 touch program or something like that, but how do you keep track of your past clients, and then how do you keep in touch with them? Let's do that. I'll stay with you, Tom. We'll go down this way.
So it's very, very important to have your database organized. So we use a CRM. We have it everybody's tagged, categorized, past clients, severe. We've got a grading system, A+. A+ is somebody who's given you multiple referrals. They are the top people in your sphere. A's are people who have given you a referral at some point and they like you, they would refer you, they recommend you. And you've got the B's and the C's. We have a number of things that we do systematically. So it's basically a checklist, a program. But one of the big things that makes it so easy for myself and team members to call the sphere is we'll just do an event. And I'll just we've done all sorts. So we did Camp Holly. We paid for boat rides and food. Camp Holly has food, so it was easy we had sponsors help out. We've done picnics. We've done movie events. So the easy thing is if you have, especially for agents that are reluctant to make calls, they feel it's awkward to call past clients because it feels like I'm calling to say, hey, I'm running a little low on money. Do you need to buy or sell something so I can get some commission? That's what it feels like to them. And instead of that, they can call their past clients, their sphere, their friends, their cousins, anybody, and say, we're having a picnic. I just wanted you to know that you and your family are invited. And the family, it does not matter whether or not they're coming to the picnic. You are on the phone with them. You're able to have a conversation, and now they know that you care about them as a person, that they weren't just a hit and run transaction. You got your commission, you're done, you don't need me anymore. They know that you're inviting them to a picnic. Nobody's ever yelled at anybody for inviting them to a picnic. Nobody's going to hang up on you because you're inviting them to a picnic. So events are just such an easy thing, and a picnic is a good example because it doesn't cost a lot. You can call everybody in your sphere to say hello. And the biggest reason why people will list with someone else is they forgot your contact information, or it is perceived indifference. Perceived indifference. It means they think you don't care. They think it doesn't mean anything to you whether they come back to you. Your job as a realtor is to fight perceived indifference in everybody that knows you. They need to know that you do care, And you don't want to look too rich either. So watch the cars and your postings. They're going to think you got so much money. You don't need my mom's listing. My mom's listing that house. No, they need to know that you do want their mom's listing, right? So make sure that they know that you do care. And so think about that as you're making calls. You're fighting perceived indifference, and that can be in any given way. Automated messaging, emails, mail flyers, and invitations to events. But definitely a phone call once a quarter. Everyone that knows you should get a phone call from you once a quarter. If you need a script, if it's hard for you, having an event is super easy. Otherwise, there's really easy scripts that do not involve you asking them if they're looking to sell their house.
And I'll add to that. Those of you that are nervous to throw an event, how many of you ever wanted to put an event, but you were like, I don't know who's going to show up? Raise your hand if it's ever been a question for you. All right, a few of you, but those of you that feel that way probably won't raise your hand in front of everybody. It's probably not going to learn. No, the best way to make an event that actually fills is to let enough people feel personally invited. So when you're making those calls and someone hears from Tom and someone's like, oh, Tom's going to notice if I'm not there, that like raises their chances probably triple of showing up in the room. And how many of you guys got an invite from me personally? Anybody in this room? All right, a handful of you guys. Like, that makes people more likely to be like, oh, Aaron's going to notice if I don't show up, I'm going to come to this thing. Or he cares that I'm here, which I do care that you're here. Like, I send them personally. But the number of people that you make that touch with will affect how quality the actual event is. Yeah, keep going, Tom.
And so, I found like somebody sold their house here. I was a listing agent. They moved to New Jersey, for example. And I called them to invite them to a picnic here in Melbourne. And they're like, Tom, I sold my house and moved to New Jersey. Well, I just thought in case you were in town, right? In case you're in town, maybe you guys know that you're welcome. I just want you to know that you were invited, even if I understand you're probably not in town. And the funny thing is, you do 100 of those phone calls. Every single time I call past client Sphere, someone will say, I was meaning to call you. Almost always. I'm calling hundreds of people, inviting them to something, or just doing the touching base. Someone will say, oh, it's a good thing you called. I was meaning to call you. My cousin's coming to town and they're going to buy a house. And I'm thinking to myself, because I've heard it literally every single time, it's like, well, that's funny. You didn't call me. I called you. And the reality is they could have lost my phone number. They maybe just didn't remember my name. I don't know. But the bottom line is they will say I was meaning to call you. Now you're back in front of them, top of mind, and you'll get the business out of it.
In fact, if you guys don't know this, 83% of people say they like their agent enough to use him or her again. Do you know what percentage actually do? 9% actually do, and only 8% have their agent's name and phone number available at any given time. So that's just a little tidbit for you guys to think about. Let's just go down the line. I want to hear about what you do to keep in touch with your past customers, your sphere, or anyone in that capacity. What do you do to generate more referrals or generate more listings from the people that already know you?
Mine will be pretty short because I'm just took all the notes from Tom. Actually, I've done deals with all these guys, and I love doing all of them. But just recently with Tom, his team, he married up, by the way, too, way up. But the thing I would, the one thing I would add to, that I think was kind of cool was seasonally, like coming up with some, again, sincerity, authenticity is all important, right? So I'm not like, bottom line is I found like this killer key lime pie place up in Cocoa Beach. One year I got key limes for everybody and just hand delivered them. Stuff like that, seasonally. I can't, honestly, it's just too exhausting to do. I need a bigger team to do a really effective CRM and all that stuff like that. So if you're not going to do it the way it's supposed to be done, it'll look awful if it just falls apart. So for me, I've got a more scaled solution. And then I do a lot of social media and just let people know that I'm still actively an agent. I love what I do, let the enthusiasm come out, and leverage social media platforms, again, stuff like that. But
Marcie?
So the one thing I did early in my career, I actually have a campaign called KIT, and it stands for Keeping in Touch. And it is a note card that we would send every single month to every past client. And it was always something that, so we would basically say, okay, what's the holiday for this month? And I'll give you an example. So like May 25th was National Wine Day. So we had a note card, it had a half a glass of wine on it, and we would always put something inside the card that tied into that holiday and really didn't ask for a referral, but kept it so that your clients weren't forgetting about you. So that example on the National Wine Day. So it was a cute little card, and when you open it up and inside, and it said, we're a half glass full thinking kind of team, and we've been charmed to have clients like you. And inside that note card was a wine charm. So that's what I'm saying. So you go through, and I literally did this every single month to every one of my clients. There were times when I sent, after you have 200 or 300 clients, it gets expensive, but again, if you continue to do it, people 15 years later that actually moved out of state that you think are never going to be your client again, we're still getting these. And they would call me back and they're like, oh, we're moving back, or my friend's moving there. And that one kit effectively made my repeat business be what it is today. So I would say, but you have to do it. And again, when you're starting out, you only have a few clients. Send it to a couple of your closest potential referral friends or neighbors, etc. And then you just build from there. And if you can't afford to do it monthly, then do it every other month. So there's definitely ways to do it. But again, as you can tell, I'm a proponent of mailing. I think that somebody can delete your email in 1.2 seconds, but even as they're walking to the trash can to throw your stuff away, they're seeing you. And I had a couple months when I was moving, etc. We stopped the keeping in touch, and I literally had clients calling me going, hey, where's my thing? Where's my, clients will post stuff. We've done, cute little put together rocket launchers or pumpkin faces, and we send stuff to the kids. And that, if there's one thing that you do when you leave this room, figure out what your kit is going to be and do it every single time.
Love it. Sylvia, I'll go to you and I'll let Gibbs bring us home.
I mail my people twice a year, and I touch base with my A-plus clients and A clients. I try to keep in touch with them very often because they are the ones that bring me the referrals. It's not that I have a referral network that I work with, like not referral network, but I work a lot with Brazilians that work at Embraer. So I've been very lucky to be the one that they refer. It's like, you want to buy a house, you have to talk to Silvia. You got to talk to Silvia. I'm like, okay, well, I train them well. And I make sure that whenever they send me a referral, I give them a gift card right away. I want to make sure that they get the credit. And whenever I'm closing on that, or maybe I found a house, I always give them credit. Because of you, they found a great house. They're so happy. Because of you, they're closing on this house this month. Because of you, they got a house that is much lower in price, whatever. I tell them, and I always ask, I said, 2 or 3 people that you think are going to buy or sell a home. Do you know anybody who you think that they're going to sell? And they think about somebody.
And you're sending the gift for the referral, not the
for
closing,
the referral.
Correct? Y'all caught that? She's sending the gift when?
No.
When they
right away. They call me, they have a referral, I send them.
Not because it closed, because they
no,
referred,
no.
because you want to train them to give you referrals,
Yes.
not to give you deals that close. That's
And
your job.
People are going to be very
out there.
genuine about it. They're not going to just want to give me names and just to get a referral gift card. They want to get somebody to buy or sell through me. So
Sure.
you train them.
Love it.
And it's wonderful.
Love it. Gibbs, what do you do to keep in touch with your past customers?
So I think what Jim said is super important as far as being authentic. So if mailing on a regular basis isn't your thing and you're somebody who likes to communicate via text, or you like to communicate via phone, or if you like to communicate via email, however it is that's authentic for you, that's step number 1. And for me, I don't know what it is in my brain, but I'll see a house or see something and it just makes me think of somebody. So I text them, and I sometimes even send them the link, and I say, hey, this house isn't right for you for this reason, but you know what I did like about it was it hit this, this, and this in your criteria. It's not the right house, but I'm still touching them, right?
You're touching them, and you're furthering your memory so that your awareness is looking for that person.
So I do that a lot, and I really believe that you should sell the sizzle of the steak rather than the steak. So I also, if I catch a snook beachside, which this year I've caught 7 or 8, And, you know, not a lot of people have figured out really how to catch them off the beach. So I've got a slew of photos. I've also got surfing photos, surfing videos, sea turtle videos of the moms coming up, the babies going back. I've got all that in my phone.
Love.
Right? And then so it's very easy for me to wake up one morning, take a picture, and think of 3 clients and text it to them and just say, I don't know why you hit my brain today, but here's sunrise this morning in Melbourne Beach. So I do quite a bit of that, but that forces you to get out and make that content. And then what I would say as far as keeping up with people, keep up with realtors too, y'all. When somebody calls you on a listing you have, or if you're calling a listing agent, once you get off the phone with them, send them your full contact card. And good Lord, if you're an Apple user, go create your contact card so you can hit share contact, share your Instagram, your Facebook, everything in one contact, and send it to that other agent. So I've got 8,500 contacts in my phone right now.
Love it. How many of you guys learned something from these people? Make some noise. All right, I want to get just 2 or 3 takeaways from the audience. I might ask one more question if people hang around, but I want to get 1 or 2 takeaways from the audience. I'm going to give this to somebody. Who learned something today? What'd you get? Or what were you reminded of, either or? Yep. What did you get? Talking about farming from Marcie? There you go. How about over here? Somebody over here learned something? Anybody? Yep. Yeah, it's not about how many people see your name, it's how they see your face and the points. It's basically your future listings come from your professionalism and how well you handle it, is kind of what you said. Who else? Someone over here? Yep. Making your own group. Love it. You rock it. Perceived indifference. Yep, how about here? That events are the way to go. All right, I'm going to ask Tom one question. I'm going to ask you guys one. Tom, real quick, like 60 seconds or less, what are the biggest tips you have on making your networking group successful? Like, what are people doing wrong when they build these groups that they could do differently so that they don't waste their time trying to build a group?
So you show up, you're professional, you get your 60-second, your elevator pitch, you know how to present yourself in 60 seconds because you do it every time you meet, whether it's every other week or whatever. But it's back to what someone was saying about farming, is that don't go and say, well, you know what, I went to 3 networking events and I didn't make any money. Like, that's not how it works. This is farming, not hunting, right? You're planting seeds, you're meeting new people, there's guests coming, there's the people that you meet all the time, and they know you very well. You're meeting them consistently, and it's just part of your schedule. We're talking about 1 or 2 or 4 hours a month. Come on, you can do it. You can put that in. Just invest that. It's in your schedule. You show up, you introduce yourself, you pass out cards, you listen, and you learn from all of the other people that are there. They're mostly from other industries. They're doing education, they're sharing. You're learning, they get to know you, you're sharing what you do, and you will get, I can remember specifically a guy, he said, my daughter, he was in IT, and he said, my daughter's gonna buy a house, I want you to take care of her. And I just actually really sincerely felt like, this is his daughter. She's in her 20s, and he entrusts me to help her with her first home because I must have made a good impression. It's just because of showing up consistently. You literally need to think of it as a long-term investment, a year to 2 years. But it will have that ketchup bottle effect that you're gonna be showing up consistently at networking, and then bam, you're gonna get like 10 deals out of it, out of the blue. So it's not something that you just start getting them immediately when you start going to things like that.
Love it. How many of you guys want me to ask one more question even though we're a few minutes over? Raise your hand. All right, more than half the room, so I'm going to just do it, and if you got to roll, you can roll. But hopefully those of you that are sticking around will stick around and grab some lunch. Nobody bought the lunch. We're just going to all grab lunch for whoever wants to hang out, and hopefully you guys will hang out with us. You may want to pull out your calendars, though, and mark down November 5th. How many of y'all would love to see another session like this? Make some noise or raise your hand. All right, so November 5th is the next first Wednesday of the month that we have one slated. I will tell you later who's speaking. I got a pretty good idea. It's probably going to be a bunch of independent brokerages, but we'll see what happens. I'll reach out to you guys. You'll keep your eyes out for invites. So here's a question I want to ask you guys, and there's probably, 30 seconds each to answer this one. So if I dropped you off in a brand new market and all you had was your phone, your computer, whatever, but you had to start from scratch somewhere else, what would be the first thing or two that you would do? I'll start with you, Silvia. I drop you off and you had to start your business from scratch. What are the first thing or two that you would do?
I thought about it in the past about this question, and I seriously would work probably as an assistant to a very high-end agent.
Are any of you guys looking for assistants, by the way? Anybody here? All right, I thought I'd tee you up, sorry.
In a different location. So, yeah, I probably would do that because I know I would be able to do the task well, and I would be able to help negotiate and do all that, and then learn the business, the areas while I'm working with them, and probably set up a way of a referral so that I could make some money that way as well.
So referrals from other agents?
From the agent that I'm working with. So that if I can get price reductions, if I can get somebody to buy a house. So I think that if I did it that way, I could slowly get into that market.
I like it. Gibbs, what would you do if you had to start over somewhere else?
Interestingly enough, I did. So I worked up in the Carolinas and with a business partner up there, and we took over a whole area. It was a lake, and there was a lot of people asleep back then, so it was easier than it was here. And then I came here, and I did it. And everything you heard today is exactly the way to do it. Old school postcards. I've done it too, and look, it builds. It is a constant reminder, and if you're looking to sell with with sellers and not buyers, sellers are the ones that are in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, and they're not on social media, and if they are, it's Facebook. And so I know a lot of the newer, younger agents are hitting a different tier than what I hit over the years, but I will tell you that a lot of the sellers, they get that constant, and it is throw my name in the trash 15 times, and that 16th time you're going to throw it in your junk drawer, right? And then Ellie Mae down the street says she's about to move. Hold on 1 second. Let me get to my junk drawer. You're on the phone with them, and your name gets thrown out there. But once it does, and you got to be in the streets, you got to be literally in the streets. Pick one neighborhood, pick certain houses, and then you got to be in the neighborhood, and you got to be driving slow. And when somebody's walking their dog, your window has to be down. And if they start a conversation with you, stop and talk for 5 minutes with them there. And it's not about necessarily real estate, but they're going to ask you, what are you doing in the neighborhood? Oh, I'm actually the professional of this neighborhood when it comes to real estate. I've sold 5 houses in this neighborhood, and I just like to drive through every now and then. So, and then make sure you're prepared, right? So when you get the phone call, make sure you're prepared. Hey, I work with Sotheby's. It's the most well-respected, well-connected real estate company on the planet that happens to market to the world's most affluent audience. It's a 2-sentence elevator pitch.
Yeah, so he knows his elevator
I've got
pitch.
it right there. I know what dollar per square things sell in Melbourne Beach. For houses, concrete block versus houses for wood frame construction. Houses versus pool.
Talk to people and know your stuff.
I know that dollar square. I can target something super, super quick. I know the difference in Satellite Beach, what those are. But you got to take the time every day to look at the hot sheets.
I got to keep it going, you guys.
We got
1 minute left, so let's keep on going. I love it, Gibbs, because you got all sorts of stuff. But Marcie, how would you start over?
Obviously, I would do an impact mail schedule for farming. After you knew your market, I'd pick that community. But one of the things that you have to include that's more than just a postcard. I always did a community report, and it would summarize, all of the sales in that area for a certain quarter or a certain 6 months. It would show the turnover rate, the price per square foot, and all of a sudden, they're seeing value. So if you send the community report out, once a quarter, in addition to all your postcards, I think now all of a sudden, if they don't know you, they're getting something that they've never seen before, and now I'm the neighborhood expert, and it's going to happen a little bit quicker for you.
So it's valuable and it's positioning you in the way you want them to. Jim, how would you start over if you weren't from the area? Or if you went to a new area, they didn't all know you?
I would do exactly what Silvia said. I'd get with the probably most successful, most powerful, whoever had the most listings, and I would just say no vacations for a year. I'm going to work every single open house that I can get into, because I want to be in front of people. I want to do what Gibbs said before the open house, the day before. We're going to have an open house. Here's my card. Call me if anybody parks in your grass. I don't like that either. You know, do all that stuff. Let them see how pretty I am, and I would crush it.
Love it. Tom?
So I would join the top real estate team in that new area. It's people don't realize that 70% of the real estate in the United States last year was sold through teams, the team structure, and it's really something that I think is going to increase. Real estate agents are working more and more in different constellations of teams. So I wouldn't be focused on the brokerage, I would be focused on the team and become a partner with the best team in that area.
All right. Y'all give all these people an amazing round of applause if you got something out of the day. I wish we could go even longer and that we started more on time, but we'll make sure they're set up right next time. Anyway, can we also give it up for Dave Stewart and his crew with these Stewart Productions one more time? They came all the way from Orlando late last night to get this all set up. Thank you to all the sponsors. Stick around, hang out with us. Hopefully a bunch of you will come grab some lunch with us at the landing because it's got great food. And real quick in a second, I'm going to take a quick picture with all of us, so if you could jump up there and do it. But thank you guys for coming out. See you guys November 5th, and bring a friend next time. Thanks, y'all. Make sure you post and use the hashtag Masterclass321. You'll win some stuff. Thanks.